Hello and welcome to my second YouTube video. My name is Gemma Sarsfield and I am the author of the book Me and My Bully. As I said in my first video, Me and My Bully is about my journey with ADHD, OCD and self-harm. It also entails different strategies that I've tried over the years to help myself deal with the conditions. In this video I'm going to describe a typical day so you can get an insight into what life is like for me with ADHD, OCD and self-harm. So a typical day for me. If I'm going to the gym before work, I'll get up around 5:15, 5:30 with the aim of getting to the gym for 6:15. I get out of bed and go downstairs to get my breakfast. If I use the toilet first, then this will be my first hand wash. I make my breakfast, and if I need to take the lid off a new pint of milk, I will wash my hands in case I have milk on them. Once I've made my breakfast and taken cod liver oil, I wash my hands again in case I've contaminated my skin. I go back upstairs to eat breakfast in bed and read. Before eating I bless my food, and possibly during eating, as they sometimes continue to go through my head. When reading I may start getting worried if I am not taking in what I've read, as I should be concentrating better. I then check regularly around my bed in case I've spilt crumbs on it. When I've finished eating, I take supplements. I recently figured out a way to take the omega-3 without touching the tablet, so that I don't have to wash my hands after taking it. I then get dressed, wash my face, and then wash my hands after moisturising my skin, so I can do my hair. I need to make sure I have everything to go from the gym straight to work. I'll check the heating is off and ensure everything is in order before I leave the house. I need to check I definitely put the alarm on. If I am unsure I may check again, but then I have to take my shoes off and switch it off to put it back on in case I walk out and it does not work because I didn't turn it off first. I'll put my shoes back on, then lock the front door, pushing it a few times to make sure it is shut, then lock the porch door, again checking the handle a good 5 or 6 times. I may walk back and check. On the way out the door I will also quickly think about my day, making sure I have any prep I need for my lessons, etc. When I get to the gym and leave my car, I check it is locked, the doors and the boot. Once I am in the gym, I'll make sure my locker is definitely locked before going onto the gym floor. I'll do this by pushing it a few times. My workout is the only thing that does not require me to check anything throughout or even get floods of ideas and thoughts, whether they are positive or simply intrusive. For a short period I would need to make sure the weights were the same colour on the bar, or that the weights were the same. For example, I'd want 2 full 10 kg weights either side, as opposed to a full 10 kg on one side and maybe 2 5 kgs on the other, to make it up to 10, but that soon passed. My workouts are the only place I can forget everything and just train. I feel like myself, I am safe. Weights are not judgmental. I will train 6:15 till 7:15, then shower and aim to leave by 7:50. I like routine, and I like to know what I'm doing every day and plan times to complete everything, from getting up, eating, training, completing tasks and going to bed. I think that's why I was so set on a military career, to be honest. Before now, after leaving the house, I've driven right round the block to ensure I go past the house again, just in case I dropped anything when I was getting in my car. On occasion I've been partway to my destination and driven all the way back home. Anyway, I'll eventually head to the gym and train. So after my workout I wash my hands, then head for the shower. I get a shower and then get changed, making sure my towel doesn't touch anything and my hands are kept clean between getting out of the shower and getting dry and dressed. When I've dried my feet I put my socks on, but I'll have to put my trainers on straight away so I don't touch my socks on the floor, as when I get home I'll be walking around the house in my socks. My hands need washing after moisturising and putting in my contact lenses. As I get ready to go, I'll ensure that I have checked my locker, the cubicle and the floor numerous times. Whilst walking around a number of times trying to look casual, if there are other people there then I try and put my head down and just focus on getting out the changing rooms, but I might give in and go back and check my locker a few more times. By this time I'm probably clock watching too, as I'm conscious of the time and the possibility of getting stuck in traffic. But I cannot get out unless I'm certain that I've got everything. My eyes tell me everything is in my bag, and I visualise seeing myself putting things in my bag, like my phone and my pass. My keys are always hanging out my pocket. I can feel them, but I cannot see that all my other possessions are in the bag right now. My head tells me that I've got them, but then it asks me if I remember putting it in my bag. That's when I slip up, because I cannot always be sure I did, even though I'm sure I'd have noticed something that I left in my locker the first 3, 4 or 5 times that I checked. Eventually I'll get to my car and on my way to work. When I get to work, I hang up my towel over the seat so that it doesn't end up making my bag smell as it's wet. I'll then make sure I put my phone in my work bag, as my gym bag goes in the boot. I'll check that I've not dropped anything whilst getting out of the car, and eventually I'll be able to start walking into work. On entering my office, I get some paperwork done before my first meeting. I'll probably use the toilet beforehand. I wash my hands, avoiding the hand dryer, and I try to head for the door to leave, but for some reason I really struggle leaving the toilets at work. I carry pens in my pocket, bits of paper, and sometimes my pen drive, and as I'm leaving, my head suddenly says, "I think you dropped something." So I go back and I'll retrace my steps. Then I'll go to walk out and it'll say, "I'm sure you didn't check properly." I'll go back and check, knowing full well I would have noticed the first time. It then might say, "You cannot be sure, just one more check." And then I pace a few times before focusing on only the door and walking out frantically, feeling my pockets for reassurance and probably checking my watch to make sure that I'm not starting to run late for my meeting. Certain things will affect me during the day: people coughing, sneezing, using certain computers, and even people brushing my coat or clothes on the back of my chair in the office. So before the end of the day, I may have sent emails. Once it is sent, I'll check my sent items to make sure what I was sent was okay, as doubt will kick in as to what I had written in my email. I may sort out some paperwork, and after checking, I will then put it into the recycling. But I will still check the recycling bin at various intervals during the day, just to make sure that what I threw in the bin was actually okay to go out. Clearing out my desk last year was a really arduous task, as the amount of paperwork that I threw out needed checking and rechecking to make sure that I wasn't throwing out paperwork I may end up needing. I must admit that over the past few weeks have begun to get easier. At the end of the day, I'll pack up my belongings, making sure I have everything I need for that evening. I'll check my desk a couple of times, check the windows are locked, and then head for the door. As I leave the office and go up to the stairs, I tend to walk back and retrace my steps, just to check that I did not drop anything I need, and then head for my car. When I get home, I'll lock my car, check it, and then as soon as I get in, I wash my hands and get changed out of my outdoor clothes and into my indoor clothes that I'll only wear in the house. My clothes I wore that day, if they are not put in the wash, will go on the back of my chair, not back in the wardrobe, as they have been worn. I do have some church clothes that have been worn and put back, but they are in the far end of my wardrobe, with freshly washed clothes in the middle, and thin jackets like tracksuit tops and suit jackets, which have been worn at the opposite end. Clothes unless thin jackets, suits or church clothes cannot be put back in the wardrobe, certainly not with clean clothes, as they will have germs on them. So once I'm changed, I can be around the house and sit on my chair upstairs and downstairs, because I'm wearing my indoor clothes. I might then make my tea depending on the time, giving myself a set time to cook, a set time to eat, and a set time to watch a little television, depending on the night of the work. If I have done some work, I need to wash my hands before cooking or eating or touching anything, as I feel I should be clean. I'll wash my hands throughout cooking, washing the pots as I go along, and I generally prefer not to wear gloves when mashing up, as it cleans my hands at the same time. I just can't touch things that have been outside the house and then touch things which I feel should be kept germ-free, which is most of the things inside the house. If my mum finishes work at 9 o'clock, like 9 p.m, then I like to have my work done and the house tidied and clean with my dinner made for the next day, so that I can spend a bit of time with her when she comes in before we go into bed. When she's come in, I need to wash the flask and lunchbox, and then any service that it has been in contact with. I will do this when she goes upstairs. Then obviously I'll wash my hands again so I can sit in my chair clean. Before I go upstairs to get ready for bed, I will firstly make everything I need for the following day and make sure it's all set up and ready to go. I may have another shower before going to bed, making sure I spend enough time in there to feel clean. Once I have my pyjamas on, I can't really do too much outside my bedroom, as I don't like to get germs on them, as I would need to get changed. If I was to walk to my bed and brush my outdoor clothes that are hanging on my chair by mistake, I may consider changing. I cannot hug anyone goodnight if I'm in my pyjamas or my dressing gown. This has hurt quite a few times. For example, my brother's come in the past and just to say like good night and give me a hug, and I actually felt like I couldn't hug him, which really did make me feel so guilty, especially when I saw the reaction on his face. As I get in bed, I must ensure washing my hands was the last thing I did so I can touch my bed sheets. I will also check that my mattress is fully covered with my sheets and my curtains do not have a gap in them. I will read a book, then I'll wash my hands again, because obviously I've touched a book. I'll then set 2 alarms on my phone, but if I have not done this before washing my hands, then I may need to wash them again as I touch my phone. I'm able to touch my clock without the same feelings because it always stays in my room, whereas my phone goes outside. I can then set the alarm on my clock. I often convince myself that I need to go to the toilet again before going to sleep, just as an excuse to go wash my hands again. Quite often I'll need to wash them twice before going to bed. If I have touched my fleece whilst closing my door, because it is on the back of my door, I'll go and wash my hands again. If I touch too much of the light switch, when going back to my room, I must also go wash my hands again. I eventually get back to bed and then say my prayers, ensuring I review all the conversations that I've had throughout the day to check whether I may have offended anyone through something I said or something I did. This is also done through the day, following various conversations. Once this process is complete, I check my clock to make sure my alarm is definitely on. I'll kind of flick between the time and the alarm just so that I can see one more time that it is definitely on, and it does get extremely frustrating because I start doubting that they're not on, and not having my alarms on means that I oversleep will mean that I'm late for work. But if I have to check my phone again just to make sure the alarm's on, then obviously I'll need to go back to the bathroom to wash my hands. As this continues and starts getting later, I'll then start figuring out how many hours of sleep I'm going to get before I go to bed. And then I start panicking that I'm not going to have enough sleep, that I'm not going to be able to train properly in the morning, I'm not going to be able to get through my day, etc, etc. But eventually my head will settle down and let me sleep, and funnily enough, I never have problems sleeping because I'm just so tired. Again, thank you for choosing to watch my video. I hope you gained quite a thorough insight into what a typical day used to be like for me. I am planning to put up a lot more videos after this. I'm going to look at my conditions individually and also talk about how they've affected me individually, in addition to the strategies that I've tried to kind of cope with the different conditions. I am open to suggestions, so if you have any particular requests for videos, please do let me know. I'm going to put up my details at the end on text so you can actually see it, but my email address is gemma_mamb, which is the initials to my book, @yahoo.co.uk. I can also be found on Facebook. My name on there is Gemma MAMB, and again, please look out for my future videos. Thank you.
That's what I was trying to